Yes, Reign Kings podcast is back. You're here to talk about the Devin Haney unanimous victory over George Kambosos Jr. And that was not a good fight. That was not a competitive fight at all. Man. Um, look, props to Devin Haney. I thought it would be a more competitive fight than that. I don't think Kambosos is a bad fighter at all, even after this fight. But I never thought Kambosos was on that level, and he kind of showed that he wasn't. I know B has a different opinion. First, Mikey, let's get your opinion, and B, you give your thoughts on it.
Look, man, last week, when we talked about this, I said Haney was going to have to fight a perfect fight. And he did. Like he fought from 1 to 12, he fought a perfect fight. 11, 1-ish. It could, some people have it 12-0. Like I think Dan Raphael had a 12-0, I think.
I wasn't that far off.
That could be his ESPN bias. He was throwing some shade at ESPN in their coverage, but yeah, man, he did what he had to do. Right, this was again last week. I said he had to come in and drop 50. Right, this was his championship moment. He had to drop 50, and that's what he did. So shout out to him, man. He made it to where the judges couldn't get in the way. And even though we've seen him do it before, but this was clear, like, Kambosos didn't show anything, so it was no question here.
Yeah. I had it 9-3, and that was kind of being generous. I essentially gave Kambosos every round where he landed a significant punch, and that was 3 of them. But my thing was, I know that Haney was a better boxer, but I was expecting Kambosos to be more aggressive than he was. For me, through the early part of the fight, for sure, he seemed content to stay on the outside and try to box with Haney. He wasn't pressing forward. He wasn't trying to put pressure on him. He wasn't trying to overwhelm him with punches. He was just content staying outside and throwing a 1-2, whenever he would slip the jab or something like that. He would throw a couple punches back, but that was it. And to be fair, whenever he did get inside, Haney wrapped him up immediately. Which I didn't really like the ref allowing that all night, but Kambosos didn't make a big enough issue of it for it to matter, so it's whatever. But yeah, he big props to Haney. He's at the moment the king of the lightweight division. I think this sets up a what would be a mega fight with him and Tank. But we'll see if Kambosos exercises that rematch clause. He's saying he will. But what else are you going to say at the moment right after the fight? So we'll see how they feel about it in the weeks to come. But I think it would be a better fight if they had a rematch and Kambosos came out and tried to make it more of a fight. But honestly, from what we saw tonight, I don't really think that it would be too much of a difference in the outcome. It would be more entertaining for sure, but the outcome, I think, would probably be the same.
All right. Let me give a couple shout outs to the people that are in the chat hanging out with us at 12:45 a.m. Shout out to Suge Knight 323 says, well. What's up, Suge? Oh God,
I wore this for Suge, by the way.
Yeah. Listen. For Suge, that is fight apparel.
This is fight apparel. So this is for you, Suge.
Yes. Ferris says, yeah, boy. Ferris, you bet against Devin, but that's okay. He found out late that Devin Haney is his Muslim brother. All right. Okay. So you have been absolved. Okay. D Weezy says, cash it, fellas. Yes, easy money. I know. Yeah, Weezy put some money on him early. Our guy Roxon is in the house. Says, throw the damn jab in my Roger Mayweather voice. Listen, I was screaming. That's a jab in front of you, right? Like I'm looking at Kambosos like he's jabbing you to death, and every time he hits you, you're just like, well, what was that?
His face was messed up, and it was all jabs.
It was all
It was
jabs.
all jabs.
It was all jabs.
That's a little bit embarrassing for a unified world champion, but it is what it is.
Shout out to Griff for coming through. He says, "I see why Haney named the Dream. His style is boring."
That's not true. Like, no. Haney was very entertaining.
It takes two to tango, right?
It's always fun watching someone who has that kind of command of their skills and their craft. But yeah, I mean, Kambosos didn't make it a fight.
Okay, so I had it 10-2, and like B, it was kind of a retroactive type of going back because I didn't really have him winning any of those early rounds. But I was like, well, with a crowd cheered a little bit, I'll give him I'll give him that round.
I gave him the second round because I mean there wasn't much going on in the second round, and he landed a pretty hard left hook on him in the second. So I was like, okay, you get the second round, that's fine. But yeah, after that it was.
Yeah, I kind of retroactively. I was like, it's it's not gonna be 12 nothing. But that's kind of what I felt like. But it's kind of like I told you offline. Beat this is kind of what happened. What used to happen when people step in the ring with Floyd Mayweather, right? Mm-hmm. People buy into that talk that he's soft, he runs, he's a chicken, he doesn't hit hard or whatever. And then they get in the ring, and they're like, well, he hits hard enough to where I don't want to just run in there and sell out to try to knock him out, right? He's fast, he has well-placed timed punches, and I don't want to just run into that. And I think Kambosos found that out. Kambosos' style, yes, he comes forward a lot, but he also does a lot of counters too. If you look at a Teofimo fight, Teofimo played into his strategy perfectly. Like he wants to mix it up with you, but he doesn't want to have to force the issue every time. He wants somebody that wants to come forward a little bit. He'll come forward a little bit. He can, when he wants to control the fight, he can control it, coming forward. And sometimes he wants to counter. And Haney was just like, you're going to have to bring the action to me because I'll jab you to death all night. And every time you come towards me, I'm going to jab you. I'm going to check hook you. I'm going to do all these things. And then I'm going to be gone. And he didn't have an answer for it. His corner didn't have an answer for it.
Well, I mean, to be fair, we don't know if his corner had an answer for it because ESPN didn't show any of the corner talk and decided not to show the beginning of some of the rounds. Which is a terrible broadcast.
Yeah, that was weird. I was like, why you keep going to commercial?
Because it's not a pay-per-view and they gotta get that money, man. But I think that it's. I mean, I just forgot what I was gonna say. That's all right.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I just don't think Kambosos had much else. Like if they do a rematch, I actually think it would be worse for Kambosos. I think Haney, he started slow just to kind of see what Kambosos would do or could do, but now that he knows what Kambosos could do, I think it would be even uglier.
Well, I don't think that he knows what Kambosos can do. I don't think he did what he could do. If he comes out and he like I said, if he's a more aggressive fighter and he tries to bring the fight to him in a second fight, it would be more entertaining. I don't think it would be a major difference in the outcome. What I was actually going to say was credit to Haney because he didn't have those moments like he had against Diaz and against Linares where he slipped up and got caught. So that's. I think we kind of forget at times that all of these lightweights are really young and still developing. So
what is he, 23? You think he's 23?
He's 23 and a half, somewhere in there. So credit to him, for being locked in for the 12 full rounds and putting on a fantastic performance. Against Kambosos.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mike.
That's what I was going to say, V. Like, I think Kambosos was waiting for Haney to make a mistake, right? Mm-hmm. And setting himself like you could see. I don't know if Jerome is in here, but I was texting him and I'm like, man, Haney got to watch that because he's setting it up. Where at times Haney, when he was throwing the jab, he would lunge a little bit early on, and Kambosos was waiting for that. And like you said, he's a counter puncher. Who can muck it up a little bit, but his style is more of a counter puncher style. That when he dropped Tio early in that
was a
fight.
counterpunch.
It was a counterpunch.
Yeah.
And so I think he was waiting, and it was early on it was a couple chances that Haney gave him, but as the fight went on, Haney picked that up. He got better. He stopped lunging, and then he just couldn't hit him, man. And it was a perfect game plan to fight somebody like Kambosos. I mean, the way to take a counterpuncher out of it is to
Don't
jab
charge him,
his head, jab him, and get out the way, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, and that's what he did. So I don't know, man. The rematch, if I would be a little more excited if it was a closer fight, but I don't know. I could see Kambosos taking it, right, for another payday. I would take it for the payday, right? He don't know. He don't know.
No reason not to. I mean,
Yeah.
you lost badly in this fight, but I mean, it's not like he got beat up. I mean, his face is marked up a little bit, but it was all jabs. I mean, he's fine.
Yeah. His faculties are all still intact.
Yeah.
Yeah. Griff says, I'm glad I wasn't pay-per-view. Agreed. I'm always glad I was not pay-per-view. Okay.
And I will say, that's one area where boxing is still lagging behind UFC a little bit. It's starting to get a bit better, but every now and then, you kind of give one back for the fans like this. This is a major fight. And normally, this would be on pay-per-view. So, credit to ESPN for putting it on for free. I don't imagine the rematch will be just on ESPN again.
So I don't think. Look, I don't think there's going to be a automatic rematch. I don't. I heard Bob Arum talk about Lomachenko being next whenever Lomachenko returns from defending his home country.
Mm-hmm.
I think they expect Lomachenko to come back soon, and I think that's the fight that he wants to make next. I don't think he's interested in a rematch. They'll talk to Kambosos behind the scenes and say, all right, we'll give you some money, to not activate this. But I just don't see it.
Well, I'll tell you what, they tried that with Deontay Wilder, and Deontay Wilder said, no, I will take my fight.
But the difference is Wilder
and Kambosos is 301 allegedly, right? But, he's not gonna back down from a fight for some money. Okay?
But the difference is Kambosos is a top ranked fighter. Wilder is his own, independent guy, right? So, nobody could tell Wilder anything. Wilder's going to do what he wants to do, whether it's to his advantage or detriment. He's going to make his own decision. I think Kambosos is going to take the advice of Arum, especially if he says, "Don't worry, you're going to get another shot." Like, we hold the belts, so we'll whether you're fighting Haney or you're fighting Lomachenko, we hold the belts. Let Haney fight Lomachenko, and then you could fight the winner of that or something like that, or Teofimo's not with Top Rank anymore. I was going to say Teofimo gets back in that mix, but right now Top Rank has all the belts, and they can kind of control things a little bit when it comes to that. So it doesn't have to be the next match for Kambosos.
Well, yeah, it doesn't have to be an immediate rematch as long as you say, hey, you'll get your rematch.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. But we'll see. I mean, yeah, we don't really know what's going on with Lomachenko. Same thing with Usyk. Usyk's got a fight coming up very soon. Don't know if he'll be back for that. Hopefully they both are. But I mean, I wouldn't want to see. I understand giving Lomachenko the fight. It was supposed to be him fighting Kambosos to begin with. But the fight that I want to see is Haney and Tank. And I understand why Top Rank would not want to make that fight.
Yeah. I mean, Bob Arum was talking that. I was reading an article the other day that, he's intrigued by that fight. It's not going to happen anytime soon. Even if it's a chance of it happening, it's not happening anytime soon. I mean, for one, just the point that you just made, Jose, like we got all the straps. So they just gonna keep it in. They're gonna keep those straps in house any way that they can by just placing, just putting top ranked fighters against each other for the meantime to keep.
That's all they're gonna do
in the building. So
that's all they're gonna do.
Yeah, they're not ready to let that go, and and it can go in one fight, right? So a Tank and Haney fight, those straps will exchange hands, in my opinion. and be out of top rank, out of that stable. So I can't see it happening anytime soon. But I agree with you. I would love to see that fight.
So
Love it.
Tank has belts at what's the weight above?
Well, he has belts at 135. He does. They don't have all the belts. Tank has the regular championship.
Yeah, the regular
yeah.
So that's got to be worth something, right?
Is Haney undisputed? If Tank has a regular belt,
he is undisputed. Yeah, because he has that commission's belt. He has the super belt.
He has
so he has all of them now.
So the regular belt holds no powers, huh?
The regular belt is a fill-in belt.
So Tank has belts at the at which weight class? It's not just.
I thought he gave up those belts.
Did he?
Yeah, I believe so.
Was that 140?
I think he's just the regular champion 135 now.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. So hey, look. The bad news is no. I'm with you guys. I do not see Tank fighting Haney or Lomachenko or any of those guys. In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, that might be why Tank is out there saying he's not with Mayweather anymore, because maybe that will make Top Rank Bob Arum more inclined to work with him if he's not working with Mayweather. But PBC is always going to be involved. Mayweather or PBC, like Arum doesn't want to work with Mayweather or Al Heyman. So that fight is not going to happen anytime soon. Well, look, Bob Arum was like 100 years old. It can happen soon, but it's not in the plans anytime soon. But that could leave the door open for Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia, and honestly, Bob Arum, if he's thinking like a businessman and not thinking, just being petty, you don't want that fight to happen first, because that fight, like we talked about, like people have suggested, that fight has potential to be a million pay-per-views, right? Ryan Garcia is huge on social media. Tank is, he's building a big name for himself. His last fight just, reportedly did around 300,000, 275, 300,000, something like that. Huge gate number. So he's a draw. We already know Ryan Garcia. He draws in that casual fan and beyond casual fan, right? So you got Mayweather, you got De La Hoya talking trash to each other. Those two talk trash to each other. That could sell a million pay-per-views. And once that happens, and Tank will dispatch of Ryan Garcia, like it's going to be even harder when you get to the table when you're talking about cut. Hey, look, I'm a huge draw. The numbers show it. We got to be talking about 70-30 split now. Something like that.
And I have an idea for that. How about Tank Garcia and then Floyd and Oscar?
Yes.
On the same card.
It's gotta be like 4 rounds though.
I don't really want to, like, I would like to see that, but I don't want that to actually happen, because I don't want Oscar's on-screen death to put a damper on the main event. He would not survive that.
Yeah, we gotta fix these undercards. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, so I think that would be something that it would sell. I think it would definitely sell.
Yeah.
Let me get behind some of the planning stages of some of these cards, man. We'll sell a million pay-per-views and it'll be on and popping. But I'm not holding my breath on that fight. There's been some talk, right? Garcia was at the Tank fight. Him and Leonard Alabi was exchanging words. There's some footage of even Garcia saying F top rank. I mean, not top rank, golden boy. I'm the boss. I make the fights. Like, I don't know. I'm not holding my breath, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But there's also talk of Tank wanting Isaac Cruz again, or his team wanting Cruz again. I don't want to see that, but I could see that fight being easier made than the Garcia fight. So we'll see.
No, what are you gonna say, B?
No, I was gonna say I wouldn't want to see Isaac Cruz versus Tank again. But with the situation they're in right now, where like you said, Top Rank has all the belts, and they're probably going to try to keep those in house. It's going to be hard for Tank to make a big time fight, which is what he really needs right now. So if you're not fighting for those belts, if you can't get in that line. Cruz is, not a bad consolation. You would want to, if you're Tank, I can see wanting to go out there and putting on a better performance against Cruz. He got injured during that fight, and he fought well. He showed off some skills that he hadn't really shown before in his previous fights. But I'm sure he would want to go out there and try to get the knockout win. I hope it doesn't go down that road.
Yeah. I mean, this is the other side of boxing, right? When you want to get these matches going, there's a lot of politics involved. And shout out to One Mike History. Make sure you subscribe to this brother's channel. Dope channel. Dope channel. It says Garcia be on social media talking crazy after every fight. Yes, he does.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he does.
My man Mike from the
he does. But it's at this point it's just trolling, right? Because he doesn't have any intentions of really fighting anybody. I mean, his next fight coming up is against Fortuna? Yeah. For the guy that 2 years ago he was supposed to fight, but he needed a mental health break, and now he's ready for Fortuna, who's he's Fortuna. But he said after that he's going to try to make the Tank fight happen. I don't think he's genuine about that. But we'll see.
He's even willing to, he said on social media, he's even willing to video record all of the negotiation process would take to see, so everybody can see it's not him and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I bet.
But the thing about it is he can say that, but a couple years back, Tank wanted that fight, and they were close to closing in on that fight, until he went chasing this fight, this phantom fight with Manny Pacquiao that was going to be an exhibition fight at that. So Garcia can't say anything about anybody ducking him, especially on Tank's side of it, because he wanted to fight a couple years ago, and it was there until he wanted to chase that fight. But nonetheless, if you've been a fan of this show, you've heard me say plenty of times that is the fight I want. I want Tank to beat him up so badly. It's just to get this over with. So I hope they can make it happen, but I just can never hold my breath when it comes to the politics side of it. We know how Oscar can be. He don't care for Floyd and all of that extra stuff.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what fighters say. Like you can say whatever you want publicly. I'll do whatever. I remember another fighter who said he would do whatever to get a particular fight. That was Charlo with Daniel Jacobs, right? Daniel Jacobs got up in his face and he's like, "I'll do whatever to make this fight. Let's do it." Fight ain't happen.
Listen, I'm a fan of the Charlos, but that always stands out in my mind because Daniel Jacobs was up in his face. I was just like, oh yeah, that'd be a good fight. Daniel Jacobs is really good, and the fight never happened. That always sticks in my mind. Like, why didn't you ever fight Daniel Jacobs? Mm-hmm. Even now, why aren't you fighting Triple G? Like we talk about Canelo. We talk about Canelo and guys that he needs to be fighting, but if you're Jamal, if you're Jamal. Man, there's guys for you to fight right now, man, and you're not doing it. Like, who's this guy you're fighting coming up? What's his name? Like, what are you doing? Why are you wasting your time with him? You need to be chasing a Triple G fight. You need to be chasing Andrade. Like, there are guys you need to be chasing Benavidez. Like, there's guys for you, bro. There's guys for you. Like, I like Charlo. I think he can beat some of these guys, but come on, man. Like, let's not make it about Canelo. Like, you can make a name for yourself. You can make a bigger name. You go out there and start beating some of these guys. Rock, you're typing a lot in the chat here. What we got? What we got here?
Rock, listen.
He said Tank needs accomplishments. He has a lot of accomplishments. I'm not sure how many more accomplishments you're talking about.
He's saying that he's when we were talking about the belts, he's saying he's just a prize fighter now. I think the regular belt may go away.
Got you.
But he's a prize fighter now, or a big name on the cusp of being the face of of the, I guess, either the lightweight division, not really the face of boxing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Rock, listen, I'm not a fan of Ryan Garcia, but he did. Errol tweeted out that he did pay him the 20K, so he did keep his word and he paid the money. So you can call it cloud chasing or not, he forked out the money.
Yeah. Listen, you could cloud chasing.
Hey, you can't say this and then say that Canelo should fight Charlo.
Right.
And you're saying that DAZN didn't want to pay Jamal. I don't care what they offered him when you say, I'll do whatever to make the fight. Because you're saying, I just want the fight. He said he'd go to HBO and make the fight happen. He didn't make the fight happen. So it is.
No, you're absolutely right. You can't talk about he's too big. Like, I mean, Canelo's damn near cruiserweight, right? and you think they should fight? Like, nah, man, he can't have it both ways. Fight Benavidez.
Fight somebody.
Nobody wanna mention Benavidez, man. Like,
that's nice.
They asked Charlo a question about him, and he like politely sidestepped that. Like, that kid, nobody wants to touch. And it was another fighter tonight, David Morrell, who is, I think, 7-0, but his name is starting to ring bells. He's already holding the belt, and he's calling out names like Benavidez and Canelo. And
Rock, let's not do this, Rock, man. Let's not do this, right? Canelo's a heavier fighter. Yes, he has belts in the division. Like, he's going through all these divisions and getting belts. He can move up. He can move. Yeah, no, like you're not listening. You're not listening to what I'm saying. So you're saying Canelo should come all the way back down from light heavyweight to where are they at, middleweight?
Yeah, 160.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You think he should come all the way back down to fight Charlo because he has belts there, but you're not saying Benavidez should come down, right? Or Charlo to move up a little bit because you're not suggesting that Canelo's gonna come all the way down to fight him, right? You're saying Jamal moves up a little bit, Canelo comes down a little bit. That's what you're talking about. And why can't he do that for Benavidez? Right? Why Benavidez is closer. So if Benavidez is too heavy for Jamal, why are you saying Canelo needs to drop all the way back down to fight Charlo? He's too big for him. Right? No, and no, we don't think that about Charlo. It's just that when you're saying why aren't these guys fighting each other, you gotta ask why Jamal isn't fighting these guys. Who has Jamal beaten?
And Chris saying Canelo just turned down Charlo. They already confirmed it. Canelo was supposed to be Jamal's next fights. They were already negotiating. So they offered him a package of 2 fights. It was Bivol and Triple G, or Charlo and Benavidez.
And shout out to Chris White too, by the way. Thanks for coming.
And Triple G. So his next fight's going to be Triple G.
Okay, yeah. He turned it down. No, but no, Chris. That's what we're talking about, though. That's what we're talking about, right? He turned down that package. But what's Jamal's next move?
His other fights. That's the point that we're making. Like, and Canelo even said that, right? After there was hoopla after he chose the package that he chose, right? And he said, because Benavidez started talking, and he said, "Well, listen, man, won't they start fighting each other to get to me?" You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's the point, because there's a lot of fights that can be made in all of these divisions, but definitely here, you have some names that could fight each other to get each other out of the way and go after the big fish, who is Canelo. We know everybody wants him, right? Everybody wants that fight. You know what I mean? But there's other fights that they got to start making happen, so that is the way, so that you go to that path. I understood what Canelo was saying with that. Like, y'all want me to fight everybody. You know what I mean? Like, I have to line up everybody. So why can't some of these other fighters cross each other off before they get to me? And I understood that. But you're right. He had a choice between those 2 packages. He chose the one that he did, right? Whatever, for whatever reason. I don't think either package was a cakewalk, right? So some were saying that the package he chose before he fought Bivol, was a cakewalk. And we seen what happened. Bivol beat him. So They got to start fighting, man. These fighters have to start fighting. I understand there's politics in the way, but a lot of these guys hold their own destiny in their hand. The Charlos, those guys, they have a lot of say in who they fight. So once you start calling out these fighters, they will start making it happen. So it's that time, and that's the point that we're making.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Chris, like I said, Chris is right. I'm not like Benavidez if it ain't for belts. He damn near like heavyweight. Yeah, nobody. Listen, nobody wants to. Nobody wants to fight that kid. You know what, Zay? He reminds me of Fundora. Like, he's that type of fighter that has that size that can be either or. Lord knows what he rehydrates to and how big he is when he fights. Is he? You muted, Zay.
I was saying, look how much bigger he was than what was that dude he fought a couple weeks ago? What was his name? What was the guy's name, Chad? Help
The
us out.
Canadian, the Canadian guy.
This David something, right?
I'm a Benavidez.
Yeah.
Lemieux.
David. Look how much bigger he was than him. He looked like he was fighting a kid out there. Yes, he hydrates at least 7 pounds heavier. That's being generous. Yeah, that's why I don't like Fondura for Jamel, right? That's damn near cheating, right? Like there's got to be something in the stipulation saying thank you, one Mike. Yes, Lemieux, yes. Yeah. There had to be something in the contract that says you have to show up to the fight night at a certain weight, because Fondura can easily throw on 15, 20 pounds and you wouldn't know. He has the frame to hide it. But yeah, Benavidez is kind of like that too.
Charlo's big fights, the fighters on the zone. Eddie Hearn doesn't want to pay Charlo. I'm tired of hearing you saying people don't want to pay Charlo. Listen, Haney just said he took less money to fight Kambosos. If there are things that you want to accomplish, then you go and make them happen. Charlo's not doing anything. He's not.
You can't use money for an excuse at your convenience, right? Because when Canelo is making business decisions, you're saying he's ducking. When Charlo makes a business decision, you respect it as a business decision. I mean, it's all business, right? I don't think any of these guys are afraid of each other. I think they'll all make the fight happen, but it's all about business at this level. It's all about business. That's our point. And like again, I'm not down on Charlo, but fair is fair, right? Like, I don't want to see him fight this dude. I don't even know who this Medici, whatever his name. Who's he? Who? I don't want to see that fight. I want to see him take on a fight like his brother just did, right? With Castano. I want to see him take some fights like that.
He's got another tough fight coming up with Tim Tszyu.
He's fighting Tim Tszyu next.
They're saying he's gonna be the mandatory, so that's gonna be his next fight.
That's what I want to see for Jamal. That's what I want to see.
It's that time. It's that time.
That's the point.
For all of these fighters, and we're not just picking on him, right? But it's that time for all of these championship level fighters to start taking that next step. And you can't always look to, in this case, you can't always look to Canelo as being that step. Like, there's a lot of guys in the way of fighting. Like you said, Rock, Boo Boo, Andre. I think the word on the street is he is actually the most avoided fighter on the planet. Nobody right now. Nobody wants to fight him.
And I know he's just trying to fight anybody.
Yeah, he wanna fight. So that like you got to get creative in making these things fight, right? I mean, making these fights happen. But there's a will, there's a way. Just like B said, right? Now, again, there was a lot on the line tonight, so I can see why Haney took, hey, listen, whatever. I'll take less money to come over here, and I'll go over there to fight you because I have a chance to
agree to a rematch in Australia.
Too. We haven't, who else we haven't mentioned? Jaime Munguia. Mm-hmm. He's a middleweight.
Yeah. It's a lot of cats there. Fight.
Yeah, pick somebody and fight.
Make it happen. And it's not picking on Charlo. I don't think Charlo is a guarding tool, as you said, Rob. I don't think he's that. You know, we're team keep it clean over here, right? We try to. So
we said the same thing about Jaron Ennis on our last stream. It's time to fight somebody.
It's time to step up, and it's time to step up in competition. It's just that. That's it. There's no diss to anybody. It's just that time. Let's go. Make these fights happen, man. Everybody get paid. There's enough money out there. Everybody get paid, and then if Canelo is the big fish, he's the big fish. But there's you can create your own pond, or body of water to become your own big fish in some of these other fights. And then Canelo might not have a choice but to come after you.
Yes.
Chris
White is right. He said this is Jamal's second fight coasting. I don't even mind those type of fights. You need those fights sometimes, man. Sometimes you just need to work on some things and you need a guy that you can take out, but you gotta work on a couple of things. I don't mind that, but we're past that with the Charlo brothers. Right?
Well, it's don't talk about anybody else then. If you're not willing to go and make fights happen, don't talk about other fighters.
Yeah. Roy said, "Why would any Black American fighter trust the career with Eddie Hearn in the zone?" Yeah, I mean this is a different topic, man. Look, like I said before, all these promoters.
Ellaby is interesting.
Yeah, like I don't want to get in this Ellaby verse because that's what we're talking about, right? I mean, I see the interviews, right? Like I see the same things that you're watching. Like, we don't get too caught up in the the little cat fights between promoters, right? Sometimes it's funny. We'll mention some things like especially if it's Jake Paul and Dana White. I love that, but it's that's lighthearted. But don't take that stuff and what they say too seriously.
Because all promoters are dirtbags.
All of them.
Yeah.
Every single one.
Yeah. So like don't sit there and try to pick sides and let's be real, you don't care about the careers like that, right? You just want to see fights. See fights, right? So, why would this person side with this person or whatever? Man, I don't know. Like you just want to make the fights happen. That's all. So but yeah. Props to Devin Haney, man. He did what I expected him to do, to be honest. There was nothing surprising about tonight's fight for me. I just never really believed in Kambosos like that. And again, I don't think Kambosos is a bad fighter, but I think he's a step below those top guys, But he'll definitely get another shot, whether it's an immediate rematch or later on. Like I said, Top Rank controls the belts, and Bob Arum will make sure he gets another shot, whether it's with Haney or if it's Lomachenko or whatever. So, but Tank will not be next, unfortunately.
Tank won't be for a while.
And, in worst case scenario, I mean, it's not worst case scenario, but he can also look to Teofimo, right? Teofimo's coming back. They're saying in August maybe at 140. So if there's nothing happening for Tank at 135, maybe he can make a fight with Teofimo at 140. But
who else is at 140?
There's a few people.
Josh Taylor,
yeah.
That's what Tank can do. Just go and snatch his belts. Let's see. Look, that should be the next strategy. If you're not going to give me any fight at 135, I'll go and take all the belts at 140, and I'll just run this division. Right? Let's see who's up here. That is. What weight class is that? That is, hold on.
That's super lightweight.
Super lightweight.
That's been Josh Taylor's domain. He didn't look very good in his last fight, but
he lost that fight, in my opinion. He lost that.
See, fight. No, this says junior welterweight.
It's the same.
Okay.
As I can't stand the way Box talks about the weight classes. It's 140. They're the same class.
Jack Catterall, Josh Taylor, Jose Ramirez, Regis Prograis.
Regis Prograis. That's another guy that it's kind of being ducked and dodged a little bit. He's solid. He's a solid guy.
Yeah. Pedraza. Yeah. Tank could go right back up there and say, "I'll take these belts now." He could go right back up there.
Josh Taylor ain't fighting Tank.
He'd fight him.
He could go right over there and say, "Fine, you want to give me a shot at the 135 belts? I'll take the 140 belts." And they'll do that. Their team will do that. They'll say, "Look, F Top Rank, right? We don't need to set up a fight with you. Our guy sells. That's the thing about it, right? Yeah, Top Rank, you have all the belts, but Tank sells.
Yeah.
Right. So he has options with or without those belts. So,
but Josh Taylor is signed with Top Rank now, so there's that. He was. I was looking it up because he was with MTK Global until what happened.
Yeah, he's kind of.
So I was trying to see where he ended up. He ended up with Top Rank
until an assassination attempt at a weigh-in. Oh my God!
I think
several years after that. All right.
I think Teo is still there too.
With Top Rank, yeah, I thought that last fight was his last fight.
He was talking, he was talking about getting when he said, I guess, nobody else can beat Tank, I guess I have to do it. He was telling Tank to come sign with ESPN so they could fight. So I don't know what that means.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm confused because these fighters be saying that they're not with these guys and then they're still with them, and I don't know.
Actually, this is an old thing. He signed with Top Rank a while back, but it was an advisory deal with MTK Global as well.
Okay. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right, 13 people in here. Smash that like button. It's 1:23 in the morning. You still hanging strong with us. We appreciate that. If you're new, hit that subscribe button. Yes. Look, man, we're making progress. This is a growing channel. We trying to be big, like the big dogs out there, like the other channels that you enjoy. Hopefully, we're bringing something different to the table here. We don't like to be like anybody else. We like to be ourselves. Be a little bit more laid back, give you a different perspective on boxing. So if you're enjoying it, appreciate it, man. Subscribe, hit that notification bell. The next fight's coming up. Okay, so before we get to upcoming fights, Devin Haney, his options are rematch, or is it Lomachenko, or is there another fight to be made?
No, I mean that's the talk. It's either rematch or Lomachenko has his choice. Now, from what I'm hearing, he has his choice in either fighter, right? He could go right to Haney for the belts, which I mean, I don't see why he wouldn't, or he could take a fight with Kambosos, but that's the word that he has he will get a shot either way.
Now, Rock, you said something earlier about Black Fire signing with his own, but that's how I feel about Top Rank, for being honest. All right. Like, you see so many relationships with not just Black Fires, fighters of color, right? Things didn't end well with Pacquiao either. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you sign with them?
Pacquiao, Bud Crawford.
Because now Haney has all the belts. Are you going to promote him? Because that was Bud Crawford's problem, right? Like, why aren't you getting me? I'm your best fighter, right? Why aren't you getting me bigger fights? And it was because he couldn't get it done. He didn't want to get it done. He didn't want to get it done, and then he just started bashing Bud Crawford about he's not a draw and all this other nonsense, right? And he does that a lot. And what are you gonna do with Devin Haney? Because he's mentioning Lomachenko because he wants to sell Lomachenko. Lomachenko was that great white hype, if we're being real about it, right? Who's the first person you heard ESPN hyping up when they did this deal with Top Rank? It wasn't Tyson Fury. It was Lomachenko. They're talking about Lomachenko could be. They already talked about him as he pound for pound best at the time with his record was like 9-1. You know what I'm saying? Like he didn't even have a perfect record, and they're like, yeah, he's pound for pound best. He's pound for pound best. Talking about he could be one of the great, all time greats off of 10 fights, right? So that's the one they really want to hype up. Teofimo derailed all of that, But some time has passed. He had a good fight against Nakatani. He's going to fight a war. He's going to get a hero's welcome when he comes back. And yeah, Bob Arum wants him to fight Devin Haney, and he's stacking his chips up on Lomachenko to beat Devin Haney. But if Devin Haney derails that, he ain't gonna push Devin Haney like that.
Right.
And I can see eventually Devin Haney saying, you know what? This ain't the place for me. I'm out. So Rock says Charlo would be committed. He would delete himself. I'll say that. I'm trying to be careful of the words. If he signed Bob Arum or Eddie Hearn, but they promoted Lomo on Bud Crawford's back. Yeah, look, they don't need Bud Crawford. They didn't need anybody to promote Lomachenko. Once they signed with ESPN, that media machine will do the work. And Tyson Fury wasn't, they pushed Tyson Fury too. Yeah. Listen, like I said, Eddie Hearn, I don't know. I hear what you're saying. I don't think he's ruined Anthony Joshua's career, for being honest. I think he set him. In fact, I think he set him up pretty nicely. I think Anthony Joshua just made some bad choices. Right. I don't. People blame Eddie Hearn for what happened with Andy Ruiz. He took that fight on 3 weeks' notice. You can't beat him. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't beat Andy Ruiz on 3 weeks' notice. Why?
Yeah, he wasn't mentally prepared for that fight. It wasn't that he was out of shape or anything. He wasn't mentally prepared to be in that fight, and he quit. That's all that happened against Andy Ruiz. And after that, they got him a $75 million fight with Tyson Fury. And then he said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to fight this guy who I can't beat.
Yeah, that's on him, man. Like, you're a grown man. You make grown man decisions, and he's still in line to make a lot of money. So I can't say he messed up Anthony. I can't say that he didn't mess up Anthony Joshua's career. His career is just fine right now. D Weezy says Anthony Joshua ruined Anthony Joshua's career. His career isn't ruined.
No, his career is just fine.
Yeah.
I think the knock on Eddie Hearn is he hasn't had as much success with American fighters.
No, I see a point in that.
You know what I mean, and and there's some things that didn't play out the way that they, it was expected, especially with the zone and the big promises we were told that how they sold it to us, and it's not quite playing out, but I guess he has a place in the game. He was a part of making the biggest female fight, which outdid a lot of the men fights of recent and cards of recent. So
yes,
he's a part of putting that together. I mean, he was just tweeting about that tonight, actually, that now he's calling out Jake Paul and they saying that they're running instead of making that fight happen again next. They were trying to make that the next fight, but he's saying that
a rematch.
Yeah,
I would love to see a
trying
rematch.
to go right away. So I don't know. It's the gamesmanship. He calling them out, but I mean, I hear what you're saying, Rock. The Joshua situation is the Joshua situation, right? He should have beat Andy. You know what I mean? And like you said, B, he stepped in there with a dude that wasn't there for no games, and 75 million went down the tank. But he will, if he wins this next fight, right? Tyson Fury will come out of retirement, and they will make that 75 million back. So he'll get it. He'll get that money one way or another.
Yeah. But all right. To all people in here, smash that like button. If you're new, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you just have this playing in the background, you listening, man, put something in the chat. Say what's up. If you're new in here, say what's up. Say hi real quick. But yeah, look, recap once again. If you're just joining, Devin Haney defeated Kambosos. Unanimous decision. The two judges had it what 116 to 112. I like that was
118, 110, and one judge had a 116, 112.
Gotcha. 118, 110 was a lot closer to what I had it.
Yeah, but I know it's always fun to talk about boxing corruption, right? That's always fun.
I don't think that was a corruption, but
right. But I understand, like, it's always a thing, and bad judging and all this. It was a big topic with Canelo and Bivol, and oh man, it was 3 115, 113 cards and all this. Listen, like, nobody paid off those judges. Like, if you pay the judges, you pay for a win. You're not paying for a 2-point loss. Like, I think people just forget that times, they're sitting right there at ringside. They're not seeing the fight the same way you're seeing it. And when you're in that arena, the crowd is going to affect you. And, certain judges prefer certain styles. Like, if you look at the Canelo fight, Canelo was coming forward. He was throwing harder punches. He was being more aggressive.
He was screaming every time he threw a punch.
Well, but I know that people like to say, hey, he wasn't landing those punches. But people forget Bivol wasn't landing punches in the first half of that fight either. Yeah. So how do you judge those rounds, right? Like, Canelo had great defense for the first half of the fight. He broke down later. Bad judging doesn't mean bought judges.
Listen. This seems to be the case with Canelo through his whole career.
Because the Mayweather judge was bought. But
I'm about to say,
you notice he got a win.
That judge said, "Listen, I did my job. Like, you got your ass whooped, and I still got you as a draw. I need a bonus for this."
A draw. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you're not paying for losses.
Right.
Why?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But it's still funny to see. Yeah, you're right though. It's just bad judging. But no, I had it 10-2 for Haney tonight. Kambosos showed nothing. He showed nothing. I think his game plan was to try to get in his head leading up to the fight. Okay, his dad ain't gonna be here.
Calling him a snitch.
Call him a snitch. Then there's a whole thing about how they're going to communicate with his dad in the corner. Would he let him FaceTime him and all that stuff? And his corner was saying, no, we don't want that to happen. And the stare down, maybe I missed weight on purpose because mind games and all that.
Yeah, and then I just told you before the fight.
I think that was just to hype him up, and hopefully he kind of urge or egg on Haney to come forward a little bit more, because I think he does rely on that counter to set you up with a big punch, and Haney was just too smart. And when he started throwing those jabs, once I saw that he couldn't block that jab, I was like, this is going to be my man's neck is going to be tight.
I know this doesn't have anything to do with the fight. I know that, but it makes it leave a particularly bad taste in my mouth when you're talking about the 300 and Leonidas, and I'm one of them, and I have the Spartan attitude, and I got all these tattoos. I'm 301, and you went out meek.
You're right, and you're right, Rock. Haney not there to be hit like Teal. You're right. Teal made it too easy, and Teal's a better boxer. Teal's a much better boxer than that. He's a much better boxer than that.
He almost won the fight, even though he wasn't really trying to box him.
He didn't even train for. Let's be real. Teal didn't train for that fight.
You look at Teal went into that fight looking for the early knockout. He thought he wanted to get that over with early.
He threw a haymaker like 3 seconds into the fight.
Yeah,
he was trying to get him out.
I blame his father and his camp, because they told him that's what it was going to be.
Well, he got knocked down in the first round. Near the end of the first round, he got back to his corner, and his father said, "Knock him out already. What are you doing?"
Right. Yeah. He was looking to get him out of there, and he fell right into Kambosos' trap.
Yeah, it was like the 8th round. His dad's telling him, "You're winning. You're up. You're not up. You're losing. What are you doing?" You gotta tell him at some point. You gotta be smarter, right? You're not out of it, but you got to be smarter than what you're doing. Like get your head in the game. But they didn't take camp seriously. It showed. They didn't take the camp seriously. They didn't take him seriously. They had no game plan. And he sounded dumb after the fight. Oh, I think I won. And did he say 10-2? They're like, how many rounds? 10-2?
Yeah.
Straight face. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. And if you remember, that fight got delayed for months on months because they had issues with who was actually going to be showing the fight. It was supposed to be on Thriller. Then something happened with the contract. Then it was supposed to be here. Then it was supposed to be there. So I think it changed like 3 times.
And then there was the pandemic, and then
the
he had trouble. He had trouble making weight, and it was there were injuries. It was a cursed outing from jump. But oh well.
And I don't think, and you're right, he didn't take it serious because he didn't want to fight Kambosos. He thought that was a waste of time. He did not want that fight. Like he just was.
Well, and because he had a rematch clause there, and he's like, no, I'm gonna leave.
Yeah,
and I agree with Ferris. He said this is why he hates boxing dad sometimes. Yeah, I'm the same way. Like look, I like Bill Haney in Devin Haney's corner. I like him a lot actually, but Bill Haney doesn't do things the way a lot of other boxing dads do. Bill Haney brings in a lot of other trainers to work with Devin. He always let Devin have the final say, and he tells him, look, if there's somebody else you want to go with him. I'm going to be here. I'll step to the side, whatever. He doesn't want to be overbearing, but he gives, Devin says, I want you here. And he's there. He's there to support his son. And even tonight, when they asked Bill Haney, what's next for him, he said, my son makes the final call. Right. He was like, I didn't even want him to do this fight to come over here to do the fight. If it were up to me, I'd have said no, but he said, make it happen. So we made it happen. Like, I think Bill is doing an excellent job. Mm-hmm. I got no problem with Bill Haney in Devin Haney's corner. I got a problem with Teal's father. I had a problem with Sean Porter's father. Right. Yeah. I have a problem with those fathers where they want to make it about themselves because that's what it's about. Right. Teal's dad wants to make it about him. Like that's what's going on. That's kind of how I feel about Berlanga. I watched Berlanga's last fight. I'm like, I don't have anything against Berlanga's dad, but I think he's limited. I think he's limited. It's okay right now because Berlanga hasn't reached that point yet, but that I just get him a trainer.
A lot of them are trying to use their sons to make themselves top trainers.
Yes. Yeah.
And are you a top trainer or do you have a very talented son?
Yeah, exactly. That's what's going on. So Teofimo definitely, and they've had problems in the past, him and his father, right? So this might be one of those things where he should really be taking his time while he's away, and looking to switch up because I just don't see it. I don't see it with him. He did such an excellent job against Lomachenko to turn around and then just give it away to Kambosos.
Well, I mean, but again, at that point, he was done in that division anyway. I mean, after the fight, he said, I should have just dropped the belts and left to begin with.
Yeah, but mismanagement again.
Bothered taking the fight, but yeah, it is what it is at this point. It's a blemish, but it's not a big deal.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, Sean Porter's dad said he threw in the towel because he didn't train properly against Bud Crawford, and that was the worst thing. I could ever hear. That's the worst.
Not because he didn't train properly, but because he didn't do the things that I told him.
Right. He made it about himself.
Yeah.
Porter wasn't hurt. Now he got knocked down twice, and he was frustrated. And I've been frustrated too because I thought the fight was pretty close up until that point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was pretty close, and he knew, man, these knockdowns are going to take me out of it unless I really go hard at it. But he wasn't hurt. He was just frustrated. And you let him fight, get out the round. You tell him, calm down. We go, what round was it? 10th round?
10th, I believe, yeah.
10th. You say, look, we got 2 more rounds. Okay. Pick your spots. Okay. Yes, we're gonna have to try to go for try to knock him down at least one time to get back in it. But get control of yourself. Be calm this round. 12th round, we go for it. You got 2 more fight. You got 2 more rounds to go. It's the end of his career, but you throw in the towel because you don't like what you see. That's selfish.
I tell you, man. Like sports are cruel because if Sean Porter was a couple inches taller and the arms were a couple inches longer, he'd be one of the greatest fighters ever.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah.
It's too
All right.
bad.
We've hit an hour. We come more comments and we get out of here. Rock says Fury and his dad are doing their thing too. Fury is trained by Emmanuel Stewart's son, right? What's his name? Is
His
it Sugar
nephew.
Hill?
I think his nephew, ain't it?
Nephew.
Yeah.
What's his name? Sugar Hill? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Sugar Hill.
Yeah.
That's his name. Yeah, that's who trains Fury. I know because they were in the ring together and they both had their shirts off doing the interview. Chris White says, I have never seen someone winning a fight and the trainer throws in a towel. Porter's dad was ego tripping. He wasn't winning the fight.
Not at the point he threw in the towel because he had just been knocked down twice. It was close, but yeah, no, it was definitely ego, 100% ego.
Yeah. So, yeah, all right.
Yeah, we got still some big fights coming up soon. We will not be streaming after the Inouye fight. Inouye and Donaire. They're fighting at 5:30 Tuesday morning. So
5:30 in the morning?
Yeah, it's in Japan. They don't care if you see it.
I want to talk about that fight.
I was telling Jose that he said it's probably something cultural, but I'm like, you can tell he just does what he like. It's his way or the highway because I mean he can hold a card, right? He can headline a card. So like if they wanted to say, hey, all right, man, you fighting next week, like or ESPN, you got it. Like he's like, nah, man, we fighting on Tuesday morning. Make it happen. You know what I mean? Like
he fights a lot. I mean, I'm sure it is just a cultural difference between here and Japan, but I've noticed that his fights are during the week a lot. Berlanga's fighting on June 11th against Alexis Angulo. It was supposed to be Xander Zayas as well, but he got a viral infection and he had to drop out of that fight. Jaime Munguia versus Jimmy Kelly also on June 11th. That's on DAZN. We've got Trevor Bryan and Daniel Dubois also on June 11th for the WBA regular heavyweight title. Let's see what else. The rig. On June 18th, Artur Beterbiev versus Joe Smith Jr. That's for the light heavyweight titles. And let's see, Charlo was also fighting on the 18th against Sulecki for Charlo's middleweight title. And then in July, obviously we got Ryan Garcia and Javier Fortuna coming up in July 16th, and then July 23rd, Usyk versus Joshua 2.
So definitely live streaming for that. Definitely live streaming for that. The monster is it's just bad timing, man. Like, I know the lighter fighters don't get much love, right? Everywhere else, but we're gonna give them love here, okay? But not on a Tuesday.
At 5:30 in the morning.
At 5:30 in the morning, man. Maybe we do a video or something, to kind of recap it, especially if it's a good fight. And I think it's going to be a good fight. The first one was a very good fight.
Inouye is not a hype job.
Stop, Rock. Chocolatito is not a hype job either. Stop it. He doesn't like those lighter fighters. He doesn't like bantamweight and all that stuff. Those guys aren't hype jobs. Stop. We're not going to entertain that. Yes. He's an excellent fighter. But look, the monster knocked out Nonito last time, right? It was a good fight, but look, we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be a good fight again. So we'll talk about it. And then what was after that? Charlo.
Berlanga.
Yeah, Berlanga and Angulo's on the 11th. Also, let me pull it back up.
What do you guys want to see from Berlanga to get you back on to get you back on track with?
I want him to look like a good prospect again. But on the 11th, also Jaime Munguia and Jimmy Kelly.
Okay. All right. And Jaime Munguia, we're going to be talking about him after this fight again because, again, that's somebody that Jamal Charlo could be fighting. Just saying.
we will see what everyone else, literally everyone else, has already seen that Inoue is not a hype job. How come it's okay for you to call Inoue a hype job, but when somebody says a fighter is trash, you get all offended? Like it's your brother or something.
Who would you want? Who would you want Inoue to be for him to not be a hype job? Somebody he did knock out. I can't tell the two apart. They look exactly the same. The Mooney brothers, but Jason Maloney brothers. Jason Maloney had a good knockout tonight. I want to mention that. So congrats to him. But I'm not sure if it was him or his brother that got knocked out by Inoue. But Jason Maloney. Yeah. But no, Inoue is a real deal. He's a real deal.
Inoue is a real deal. We just don't see enough of him, man. And I think that plays.
Did we watch his last fight? Like what point are we trying to make here?
Who did Chocolatito? Who did he fight? Did he
his last fight was Raymond Gabajo. He's had 2 fights. He's won both his fights since the Inoue fight by knockout in the 4th round.
Yeah. Look, I mean, he is still construction. Look, Rogers, you've already admitted before you just don't like those fights. That's fine. You don't like those fighters. Like, there's nobody at that weight class that you like. Right? It's
strange that you don't respect them. Since catching leather is not an easy thing to do, and you should respect all the fighters. And Brian Scalabrine can ball. And God damn it, Rock, just stop. Just stop.
Like, you like what you like. It's fine. You have your preferences, but respect the other fighters, respect other sports. We had a discussion about sports with you. Well, we'll leave that for.
You know what? If you don't like it, just go do some rock climbing Tuesday morning. All right, some mountaineering.
So a little bit of base jumping.
Something, man. Take up surfing for a day.
Surfing is not easy. It is not easy. I've tried it.
Surfing will humble you real quick.
Yeah. All right, we'll leave it there. Any last thoughts before we get out of here on tonight's fight?
Man, shout out to Haney, man. He did his job. He went in there, he dropped 50. And it was a closeout game. And he left no questions. He did his job. So shout out to Devin Haney, man. But bring them straps to Baltimore. That's where they belong.
That's right. D.
Yeah, no, it was a fantastic performance from Haney. He obviously deserved the win. Glad he got the unanimous victory, not a split decision or anything controversial like that. Like Mike said, I hope that he's free to take on the best fights. Doesn't have to pick between Kambosos and Lomachenko. But we'll see. But yeah, for now, I hope you take some time to enjoy it.
Yeah, and again, congrats to Devin Haney, and now I'm gonna echo your sentiments. I hope that Devin and Bill let Bob Arum know it's not gonna go down the way you want to go down. It's gonna go down the way we want to go down. We want Tank Davis because he's spoken about Tank. Tank's spoken about them. There's already a little bit of beef going on there, right? Competitive beef. And if that's who he really wants, he needs to say, that's who we're going after. You're not going to tell me that it's up to Lomachenko who he fights next. He's not the champion. I'm the champion, right? He didn't have the belts when he left, okay? So it's not his call. It's my call. And if I say I want Tank, then that's the fight that you're going to make happen. He needs to go that route with it. And if it gets ugly, then it gets ugly. I mean, Bob Arum, we all know what it is with him. It gets ugly. But stand your ground, young man. Stand your ground and make those fights that will make you great.
Because like we said on a previous stream, Bob Arum will be gone soon.
But look, it is what it is. He's 100. He's 102. Okay, he's 102. I mean, I'm sorry.
Oh man.
He's had a great life. He's had a great long life. It can't last longer, right? It can't last that much longer.
Like Bob found the fountain of youth, man.
He's out. He's an Al Davis of boxing. Al Davis was like 160. He passed.
I do want to mention before we get out of here. Speaking of the smaller guys, as we say, shout out. I want to shout out Stephen Fulton Jr. Know this cool boy Steph, who put on a masterful performance himself tonight, fighting a former champion and Daniel Roman. I started there, and then the Haney fight. I was flipping back and I didn't even flip back and forth. I watched up to about the 7th round, and then the Haney fight started. But he was putting on. I mean, you talking about a wash? He equally washed his opponent as Devin did tonight. So shout out to Stephen Fulton. A lot. He's making a name for himself. He improved to 21-0, and that's a guy, right? Yeah, y'all gonna hear it first, and it's gonna be recorded. That's a guy who, in a way, better watch out for. You heard it here first.
There you go.
Because he gonna hurt his hand on punch him in the face, or
no. This guy, I'm telling you guys to watch him fight. If y'all could go back and watch that fight, my two co-hosts, go back and watch that fight, and you will see that this guy has the ability, that he has the potential to be special.
Yeah, and
now with that nickname, you don't.
Cool boy Steph.
And shout out to Joe Cordina for his knockout victory.
Oh my gosh, that was the knockout of the night.
And shout out to the other guy. I hope you're okay, man.
Ogawa, I think his name was Kenichi Ogawa. Yes, he was struggling. His mind and body were separated. He wanted to get up. His body was just like, yo, you just need to lay down. So yeah, big win for him. He was excited about that. So
don't act like you like that nickname, Ferris.
That's a potential opponent for Stevenson. They're saying
Cordina,
yeah.
Well, you gotta fight somebody, I guess.
You're not gonna hit Stevenson like that.
Right. Somebody in the comments, Stevenson had commented they had started tweeting him, and he's like, "Look, I'll fight him tomorrow. Like we can meet and I'll fight him tomorrow." And someone in the comment was like, "This guy wants to fight him," and he's like, "Yeah, well, nice knowing him, man. You got your 15 minutes with this knockout, but nice knowing you. When you fight Shakira, this ain't." We won't know who you are anymore. So
yeah. All right, y'all. Thanks for hanging out with us. It's almost 2:00 a.m. in the morning. Man, I was already tired before these fights even started. Okay, I'm beyond tired now. I'm hurting. But yeah, we always have stuff in store for you guys. We always have stuff in store for you. So be on the lookout. We're working on some other things. The Nonito monster fight, that's not gonna happen at all. Okay, no live stream for that. We may give you a video, or maybe we'll just talk about it on the next live stream that we do. We'll decide later this week, but rest assured there will be more content on the way. And tell your friends, come over here, subscribe, like the videos. All right, leave some comments. Nice comments, not the you don't know boxing. I hate you. You can leave those too. We laugh at those. That's fine. Yeah, Ferris. I know I'm recording tomorrow. Yes, I'll be recording.
Look for more content from
Sucks to be y'all.
So
look for more content from our cars too. Yeah.
So throw it in the chat, Ferris. Let's Get Ready Network. Okay, that's where you can find Ferris. He's been breaking down the We Own the City a series on HBO about the crooked cops in Baltimore, particularly the gun trace task forces who they're following. And we've been watching it, and I was on one of his videos. We were discussing, I can't remember which episode it was, 3. So he's covered every video. He's had other guests on there. Had a guy Hendo on there, Deshaun, and I will be on there tomorrow to wrap up the series discussion. So that's we're gonna record that, and then he'll put it out later this week. So go over there, Let's Get Ready Network, and subscribe there, and check it out.
He's not even putting it in the chat. He just wanted to call you out.
Yeah, I know. Well, since you want to call me out, I just just don't forget that, Ferris, you bet against your Muslim brother tonight. Never forget. Okay. All right, so we're out of here, guys. You guys have a great night. B, are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Y'all have a great weekend. We will see you next time. Peace out.